Hi, my name is Sherry Andrea, and thank you for listening again for some of you. I just wanted to talk about shielding, protection, grounding. This is related to the empath, but at the same time, this technically relates to everyone and anyone. I specifically wanted to talk about psychic attacks. And first of all, let me just say there's a couple of different things that when it comes to psychic attacks can be going on. First of all, there are the innocent ones. I call them innocent because maybe the person who is sending you that energy or who is connecting to you, it's not something they're purposely and consciously doing. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Say someone sends me a text message asking me a question. Maybe they asked for a favor from me, and I had to say no. And so maybe I send them a response back saying, oh, sorry, no, I can't help you. And let's say causes them to get a little upset with me, which, happens. I mean, we're all used to that. Somebody asks us to do them a favor, and they're not too happy that we cannot. However, with an empath and also with people who have clairsentience, that when they get upset about that emotional response that they have, often that energy flows to us and we feel it. We either, as an empath, pick up the emotion. We could pick it up by actually the whole process. Maybe there's a connection that was made between the two of us. Then they got upset with us. And now we're picking up on the emotions they have because we have that connection. So now we may find ourselves feeling agitated. And if we were to stop and just say, why am I feeling agitated right now? Maybe we would say, oh, so-and-so, I had to tell them no when they asked me this favor. So maybe they're feeling a little upset with me. Of course, it often doesn't go that way. Often it goes by us. Maybe we get a little agitated and we don't even realize for a few hours what's causing our agitation, what's causing us to, not be as tolerant as we normally are. So anyway, I want to talk about that. Okay, so that is the innocent, what I consider to be the innocent psychic attack. Now, even though I say the innocent one, what happens to you isn't innocent at all. I mean, it can also cause you to suddenly start feeling very ill, anxious, nauseous, you name it. It could, or you might suddenly get a headache. But the reason why I call it innocent is because it's not something the person is purposely meaning to do. When they got mad at you because you couldn't do them a favor, the furthest thing from their mind was the fact that you're an empath. That didn't even come to their mind. And I know that some of you as empaths probably wish that you could wear a sign on your forehead or a t-shirt that says, remember, I'm an empath. Don't get overly angry at me for something trivial or lie to me. I mean, I'm sure you wish you could wear that t-shirt sometimes, but I haven't seen anybody try to pull that off, and I'll let you know if I ever get brave enough to do that. But that I still call it innocent because they didn't mean to do it to you. The worst thing that you want to do in a situation like that is, knowing who it may be, get angry back at them. You don't want the whole negative energies flying back and forth. You don't want to do that. You kind of want to recognize that it's not you're feeling, and then take care of it, handle it. By cutting the cords, putting up a little protection around you, a little shielding, maybe sticking that citrine crystal in, your bra for the next couple of hours with the thought of, I'm just going to stick the the citrine crystal, in my pocket because obviously, somebody's a little upset with me. If you're clairsentient, you may be picking those feelings like that when people have them when they get mad at you. You actually may be feeling it even worse. You may actually be like getting a sharp pain on one side of your head. Like I get a sharp pain on the left side of my head. So no matter how innocent it is, like for example, one day I was on my way home and I was at the light that was closest to my neighborhood, and I'm sitting there waiting for the light to change, and all of a sudden I get this pain shooting through the left side of my head, just like suddenly. And I immediately said to my son, I said, "Oh, somebody's thinking about me. Somebody's like really pissed off at me, but I don't know why. I don't know of anybody that would have any reason to be, annoyed with me right now that would cause that to happen." So as we're getting close to our house, as I turn in the street, I see my teenage neighbor coming from my door. So evidently, she really needed something. She really needed me. She didn't have like any other neighbor at the time that she could go to that was home. And she was really hoping that I would be there because she needed me to do her a favor. And so at ringing my doorbell, not getting an answer and realizing I wasn't home, she got agitated. And I picked up on that and I actually felt it. And she wasn't really, this is how this happens. She wasn't really mad at me for not being home. It was more of her reaction was like a, oh, I was really hoping she would be home. Oh man, oh no, what am I gonna do? So it really wasn't that B, she's not home. It wasn't like that. So what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to be to the extreme for it to affect you if you're an empath or a clairsentient. Now, so far, I've been talking about, as far as psychic attacks, I've been talking about, the innocent ones, the ones where they don't mean to do it to you. You just have to be smart. You have to be smart and be prepared. When people ask me, hey, I have this going on, what can I do? Be prepared. Just like some people get a flu shot. That is their way of being prepared for a rough flu season. You're an empath or you're clairsentient or both. Be prepared for it. There are certain things you need to do. And I'll get you started on that at the end of the video. So just give me a second. Okay, because I want to talk about the other type of attacks that you could experience. We're not going to go too in depth because for anybody who has Googled psychic attack, as you know, this is a subject that can get really in depth. You could spend weeks just doing research on the internet about psychic attacks and not run out of new things to learn about it. So I just want to preface this with, I don't really want this conversation to be me trying to teach you about psychic attacks and how to stop them, how to prevent them. I don't want it to be that. Because the reality is, I'm humble enough to say, there are other people who have written about and who teach about this subject who could probably teach about this way better than me. I am just like you, sometimes the innocent victim. So, but it's good I can still laugh about it, right? So, the other type of attack is the one that's more purposeful. The one where somebody is really out to get you. They've really got you on their radar. Now, this could be, let's go through who this could be. This could be a person in the human flesh. This could also be you're on evil's radar, basically. And what I mean by that, if you've been working on yourself spiritually and you're this awesome, bright light, well, get used to it. Evil's going to want to take you down. They're going to want to get you to stop doing what you're doing because you pose a risk to evil. Because if you've been working on yourself spiritually and you've been doing pretty well, and I don't care. Even if all that means is that you have tenacity every day, you pray, you meditate, and day in and day out you stay faithful. Whether that's, regardless of whether, you practice a certain religion or don't, but you stay faithful to God. It could be just that. That could be all that you do. And you are still an enemy of darkness. You still pose a risk to darkness. So sometimes you make it on the radar and you become a target, and you kind of have to get used to it. You kind of have to realize what the truth of things is that, evil never just gives up. They never just throw down the towel or put up the white flag and go, oh, hey, it's okay, we've lost. I wish evil would do that. I wish evil would just go, oh, we've lost. And the thing is, evil works through people. And you have to realize that. And evil will work through anyone. And there are certain things that make you a good target for evil working through you. And all of us have friends who drink, maybe do drugs here and there, listen to low vibration music, don't have good control of their emotions, curse, think evil thoughts about people. I mean, all of us have people in our lives and strangers that are just around us throughout the day who are an easy target for evil to use. And it will easily use them. I'm sure you've had an incident where somebody has said something to you or suddenly snapped, lost their cool and snapped. And it almost seemed like it wasn't them for a moment. Believe me, if you let your vibrations get low enough, you can be used in that way. So thinking in those terms, now think of evil, and you're protecting yourself and what's out there that may get you on its radar. There are so many different ways for evil to try to approach you. I'll put it that way. So, in case you're wondering why I think Impasse and Sentience should at least know a little bit about psychic attack, psychic defense, at least as far as grounding, using how to be able to use good shielding, what to do in this case, what to do in that case. The reason why is because the more good, pure work you're doing, the more of a target you are. It's just the reality. And if you're an empath and a clairsentient, these attacks that happen to you can be devastating even. I mean, I know people who have ended up in the hospital for a month or more. So they can be very debilitating, even to me. I mean, I'm not often thrown off for days. I mean, I normally may not feel well. Even once I clear myself of it, into it, I may not feel good for an hour, 2 hours, something like that. But you just have to realize that because of that empathy and the way you pick up things, the way things manifest for you, it makes the psychic attack that much worse, regardless of whether it's the innocent one that we talked about or the purposeful one. Obviously, the purposeful one is going to be, of course, much worse. Now, I'm not trying to scare you, so don't get worried. Don't get nervous. It's okay. I know many people who are on a spiritual path that for a very long time never had to deal with this. Until that one time. So you can manage to stay off of someone's radar for a very long time. However, if you're like me, or if you do something where you're like, you have blog, you're making videos, things like that, just know that, what you're also doing is your goal may be to help people, but you're also kind of putting yourself out there. You're also making yourself a target. Yes, I'm a target, but I'm not going to get scared and stop doing what I'm doing. But you just need to be knowledgeable about what you're dealing with and how you can handle it. Now, when I'm talking about the purposeful psychic attacks, often the hardest thing, for example, for a clear sentient, is that because you can feel energy, and excuse me, you may hear me wheezing a little bit. I love cheese, and I have to stay away from cheese because that's one of the things that since my vibrations went up, that's one of the things I had to X off my list. And I couldn't resist. I had cheese yesterday, and so now I'm like wheezing. So I apologize. But if you're clairsentient, you're gonna pay. You can feel energy. So everything from a psychic attack where somebody is trying to connect to your third eye, your brow chakra, to send you scary telepathic messages. They may use your third eye. They may connect telepathically to you to send you scary images, to send you messages. Like recently, the one I got where I first saw the images they were sending, and then I heard the words. It was like death, dying, kill. And of course, I'm very good at knowing when it's telepathy or when it's my clairsentience. So immediately I went, really? I mean, it's good that I can have that type of attitude, and it does take having that kind of attitude to deal with a psychic attack. Fear is not the way to handle a psychic attack. One of the tricks I'd like to share with you that I use is that no matter what other method you're going to use, to handle the psychic attack, shielding, prayers, no matter what you're going to use, what I always do, I finish it up by then watching stand-up comedy, something funny, something that's going to make me laugh, because that's the type of attitude I want to have. You need to laugh, be able to laugh in the face of danger, because you can often neutralize that energy, that attack, if it can't get you where it wants to get you at, in a state of fear, because these psychic attacks often lead to someone connecting to you and trying to drain your energy. They've got nothing good to use, nothing good to feed off of if I won't go into a state of fear. And not only that, if I continue to raise my vibrations from praying, decreeing, mantras, maybe even what I'm listening to, there are some things that you can be playing. I've heard in the past that one of the good things to have playing is nursery rhymes. They're high vibration, classical music, high vibration. But I often, after a psychic attack and after I've cleared myself from it and everything and shielded, I finish up by watching stand-up comedy. I know this has got to sound ridiculous to you. And if you're laughing, I don't blame you. I know it sounds funny. However, it really does work. First of all, it gets your focus on what you're watching. It takes your focus off that psychic attack. The last thing you want to do is sit there with your focus on it, and because it's going to cause you to get more and more anxious about it. You have to be able to stay calm. So breathing is key. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling him that I read on someone's website, they gave a tip that how they start out if they're being psychically attacked and they realize it. First thing they do is some pranic breathing. And I said to him, you know what? I never really thought about that, but it's true. The very first thing you need to do is calm yourself down. You need to be calm. You don't need to be anxious. You don't need to be upset in any way, because this feeds negative energy, and that's not what you're trying to do. You're not trying to make it worse. You're trying to, at the least, neutralize it. So like I said, I know I said already that I wasn't going to teach you. I wasn't going to be the psychic attack teacher, and I'm not trying to be. Just giving you some tips, that I found useful. There could be so many reasons why you ended up on someone's radar. You do have to watch out for message boards. But for that matter, watch out for anyone you may accidentally piss off. It doesn't pay to win an argument. Let me tell you, it doesn't. Win an argument, piss that person off, that person has skills and psychically attacks you, you'll see it's not worth being right. And sometimes these things are lessons that can teach you that example of you can win the battle, lose the war. What good is it for you to get your point across and be right if that person is going to get so upset, about you that they're going to end up even accidentally sending you that negative energy? Is that really what you want? Of course not. Of course that's not what you want. So stay off of people's radar, even the ones that would send you the innocent psychic attack where they didn't mean to. Stay off of their radar. If you're kind of in a back and forth with someone, try to gracefully end it. Let them have their way. Whatever truth you have, that's your truth. Or you may, you know what the truth is, regardless of whether they accept it. Let them have their way. It's not going to hurt anything. And also, it may save you a headache. Now, the other thing with being clairsentient and dealing with psychic attacks is that not just psychic attacks, but all forms of negative energy that you may have in your home. For example, let's just say you decide to go to thrift store, one of those church garage sale things they have sometimes, Goodwill, and you pick up a few items. Maybe you saw like a cool artwork to hang on your wall. And you thought, oh great, it only cost me $5 because normally if I bought something this large and this nice, it would cost me at least $50. You got a really great deal as long as you can properly clean the energy off of it once you get it home. Because if not, and you're clairsentient, that energy may be poking you, shortly after you get home with it. And that's often how I feel it. Negative energy sometimes literally pokes at me. I can walk into a room that has negative energy in it that could have come off of an object, could have come from a person, could have come from somebody getting upset and sending that energy. And all of a sudden I'll start feeling like I'm getting poked in the side. Or like I was telling a friend last night, I'm making an adjustment to the crystals that are in my home. And so I've taken out, I had a lot of crystals in my house. I've taken out a lot of them, trying to kind of balance the energy, trying not to give any negative energy anything to feed on. So I took a lot of the crystals out and then reintroduced them. So last night there were no crystals in my house. They were all boxed up and they were in the garage. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, I start getting poked. Well, first of all, the first one literally felt like I was poked in the back with a pitchfork. But not the 3 prongs, the 2 prongs. That's what it felt like. And of course, I sat up. I'm like, whoa, what the heck was that? And that energy was just like all over the place like last night. But I was like I'll admit, I didn't like just get up and clear my whole house like maybe somebody would have done. I didn't do that. Every time I dozed off, I got poked, prodded, whatever. But it's the whole clairsentient thing. If you can feel energy, think, how am I going to feel that negative energy when it's around, when it's there? Various ways. You may feel it physically. You may feel it emotionally. And that's the other thing that psychic attacks do. Commonly, it throws you off emotionally, you will find yourself more easily agitated because that is its goal. That is what that energy is trying to do. It's trying to get you to put out energy that it can feed on. So it's very important that you know how to ground, how to protect, how to shield. And if you haven't been using shielding and you think for a minute that there's some time in the future you're going to want to use a shield to put up protection, you need to start using it now. Not because you feel you need to or you have to, you have a need for it now, but because if you wait until you have a need and then you go to use it, your protection won't have any strength to it. And it won't block anything. So I'm not advising you what to do, whether to use protection or not. That's a choice you have to make. But for impasse and clear sentience, I kind of feel like sometimes we feel like we really don't have that much of a choice because of the nature of what we're dealing with and the nature of how things manifest for us. Just to live a peaceful existence, get a peaceful night's sleep. Maybe this is something you may have to look into and learn how to do. Now, you can always go to my website. SherryAndrea.com is the one that has all the series of articles for becoming a skilled empath. So it has all of the articles that I wrote as far as how to use protection, how to do grounding, how to sever connections. That's very important. Because if you get psychically attacked, whether it's on purpose or not, often a connection is established between you and the other person. And you want to be able to sever that connection because you want to, even if this is a best friend of yours, it doesn't matter who it is, you don't want anything to potentially be connected to you for the long term and draining energy from you. It'll like have the effect of you having an energy leak, and that's not good. It'll affect you, it'll manifest outwardly and eventually affect you more and more. So you want to be able to sever those connections. And if you're an empath or a clairsentient, you'll be able to usually pick up that you have a connection almost right away. Let me give you a hint. Now, I don't know if this is for everyone, but what I'm getting and what I'm feeling right now is that this is common, so I'm going to tell you. I could be wrong, but I'm going to tell you. One of the ways that I know when I have a connection is because when I close my eyes, when I have a connection, especially a connection to negative energy, let me specify. When I have a connection to negative energy or a person putting out a lot of negative energy, something negative, someone negative, or someone that maybe at the time is going through a lot of issues, or maybe they have an addiction or something. There's something negative they've got going on. When I close my eyes, I don't see black when I have a connection. When I have a connection, when I close my eyes, instead of seeing black, with some color, but instead of seeing black like I'm supposed to, instead I see patterns of color that span my whole vision with my eyes closed. So for example, I may close my eyes, and often if something is trying to connect to my brow chakra and it is something, it's negative energy, what I see when I close my eyes is everything is all white, but it's like patterns. It's not solid white, it's patterns. It's not exactly white, it's more of a kind of fluorescent, kind of opal with sparkling things in it. I know how I'm describing it. It may look pretty, but it won't seem pretty to you when you see it, because when you see it, you're going to recognize right away that it's nothing positive, because it also has a certain feel to it. Can't describe it, but if you experience this, you go through this, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I can always tell when I have a connection because I'll close my eyes and I'll see something, or I may see, it may be a dark color even. It may be some browns and grays, but the colors maybe muddied looking, may not look appealing. They may be muddied. They may be swirling in ways that to me look disgusting. I'm sorry, that's not a very good description of what I see, but that's what I would call it. What I see look just disgusting to me. There's something about it that's negative. So you sense it in more. It's more than just seeing it. You sense it as well. You sense it as something negative. So that should pretty much work for everyone, unless you have. The only way I would see that that wouldn't work for you, you wouldn't be able to see that you have that connection, is if for some reason your brow chakra, maybe it's blocked or like completely closed off for some reason. That's the only way I would see that you wouldn't be able to pick it up that way and see that. And if that is the case, then you should be doing your chakra work and taking care of that right away. So you can go to my main website, sherryandrea.com, and you can use the, you'll see the menu, which is the categories menu, running across near the top of the page underneath the header. And if you go to empathy, the next one down would say how to become a skilled empath. And if you go to that, all the documents will come up in the series that relate to learning to ground, shielding, putting up protection, establishing a connection, cutting a connection, and other things as well related to becoming a skilled empath that you would need to know. So if you're looking to get control of it, but at least looking to learn to shield and ground, regardless of whether you're an empath or not, clairsentient or not, that'll get you started on your way. It's for the beginner, so it's nothing complicated. Also, I still have my book, which is how to become, what is it called? I almost forgot. How to awaken your psychic self is the name of my book. It's a really good book, and for anyone who's watched this video, I'll give you the book for $1. Send a donation. Just go to my main website, sherryandrea.com, send a $1 donation, and then simply email me from the website and let me know I donated $1. Can you email me the book, and I'll email it to you, because it is great for, regardless of whether or not you want to become awaken your psychic abilities. I also have the chapters in there on empathy, clairsentience, every one of the clairs. It's a really good book. I have a really great chapter on chakra work, on chakras, which would explain the chakra system, chakra work. It will get you started on your way. Of course, everything's in there about grounding, protection, really good intro explaining, my experience, basically where I come from, how I ended up on the path to becoming a skilled empath, how I found out I was an empath, how I found I was clairsentient, the experiences, all that. So I would be more than happy to, for the $1 donation, give you the book. I don't mind. I'm pretty easygoing. But I hope this was helpful to you. I know it didn't give a lot of in-depth information. I know I didn't say, I realize it, I know I didn't say how to deal with the psychic attack. I'll make another video because that's a little bit more in depth. It's one of those things where it's not as simple as we wish it would be. I wish it was as simple as saying, here, just do this. This is always guaranteed to work. But when it comes to especially purposeful psychic attacks, what works today may not work tomorrow. And that's just the way it goes. So it's a very difficult thing to discuss. But I will do another video getting into that a little bit more in depth. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, being here, giving me the time. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week.